Good morning. What I can tell you is over the last 5 days it's been an absolute tragedy on South Australian roads with 6 people losing their lives. As a result of a collision on the Augusta Highway near Port Wakefield on Thursday, 2 people ultimately lost their lives. As a result of a motorcyclist coming off his bike at Paraka, a 16-year-old ultimately lost his life. I can tell you that at Nepabunna yesterday, a 57-year-old was ejected from a vehicle and lost his life. And I can tell you this morning that a female at Hindmarsh Valley collided with a tree. The car was burst into flames. She lost her life. And at about 7:10 this morning, a car with a male occupant hit a tree at Cudler, and he ultimately lost his life. So we've lost 6 people on our roads within a period of 5 days, which is totally unacceptable. If 6 people got murdered in the state of South Australia in the last 5 days, can you imagine the community outrage? Yet there just seems to be this total lack of concern and empathy within South Australia, and we need to take responsibility for our behaviour on the roads, and we need to stop this carnage.
What do you think are the key things that need to be done to address this?
I think people need to understand that driving is a complex task and that they have responsibilities. It's not a right to drive on the road, it's a privilege, and if you are not responsible and you don't drive appropriately, then you're putting yourself at risk and you're putting other road users at risk. People need to understand the devastation that 6 families are feeling as a result of what's occurred since Thursday. It's not just simply a number, and there should be no toll for using our roads. People are absolutely decimated. Families are torn apart, communities are torn apart. There's a massive human cost to losing your life or being seriously injured on our roads, and people need to start understanding and appreciating that.
So does a lot of this come down to either inattention or just straight out dangerous driving? Is that what's going on?
Look, we believe that over 40% of fatalities this year are as a direct result of inattention. So people just aren't taking the task seriously, and driving is a complex task.
Does that include reckless behaviour as well, or is that separate?
That's separate.
And what would you estimate?
Probably about 17% of fatalities are as a direct result of people behaving recklessly on the road.
And what about these latest incidents? Any of those reckless behaviour, do you think?
Look, every collision's avoidable, and I'm not going to go into the specifics, but clearly people have contributed to their own demise, unfortunately, through inattention, driving inappropriately, or other unacceptable behaviour.
With the crash at Cudler, I understand there's a roadside memorial there for someone else who's died on the same stretch of road. Do you have any information on whether that's a dangerous bit of road there?
No, I can't comment on that, I don't know.
Do you know much more about that crash in terms of what might have caused it, what the age of the ladies? Can you go into any more detail?
Which one are you talking about?
The
The one
one at Cudler?
at Cudler was a male, and I suspect that speed played a part in that crash.
How frustrating is that, Bob? That you keep saying that speed, that reckless. It must be frustrating for you as the head of this division to be standing up here, essentially reiterating the same message every time there's a spate of these.
It's extremely frustrating. It's frustrating beyond belief because people don't appreciate the carnage that lies behind and the toll that lies behind these deaths. As I said, it's not a number. Unfortunately, my people have to attend the scene, as do other emergency services and passers-by, and they have to deal with what's left. That is the families and the communities and the people that are broken, and some people never recover from this. I'm sure there's Christmas presents wrapped up under Christmas trees that won't be opened by their intended recipients this year.
You've had a crackdown on the Fatal 5 and distracted driving. Why aren't people listening?
That's a very good question, but all I can tell you is that we will continue to vigorously police the Fatal 5, and people need to understand that we'll be actioning enforcement against them. It won't be education, it'll be enforcement. If you want to use behaviours that we know, based on evidence, contribute to the highest amount of fatalities and serious injury crashes, then the police will make no apologies for taking enforcement action against you.
And in terms of that Hindmarsh Valley, what can you tell us about details of that crash? What do you think may have played part in it?
Look, it looks like speed was a part in that crash as well, but it's very early in the investigation.
With the victims with those 2 crashes, the Cudler and the Hindmarsh Valley, can you give any more information, how old they are, where they're from, anything like that?
No, I don't know.
Does SAPOL need a hand in getting out the road safety message? And I say this because on Saturday we had that really bad crash at Paraka, and there was no one available to talk to me about that crash, even though I was trying to get that road safety message across to people on Saturday?
Look, SAPOL engage actively in the messaging in the road safety space. Clearly there's a lot happening in various meetings, on television, social media, etc. at the moment, and generally SAPOL will comment when it's appropriate to do so. However, you need to be mindful of the fact that if we comment on every single fatality, the message is even going to be lost further. So when we've got something serious to say, in terms of we've lost 6 lives in the last 5 days, then we'll be forefront in the media, making sure that people are getting the message. But I don't know how many times I've said that this year. I've pleaded with people to change their behaviour, but there seems to be this empathy and lack of understanding or want to be responsible on our roads.
Do
What
you,
about
do
the
we
Baraka
need-
crash? Have you got any more details on that? You're looking for another rider. Where are we with what may have caused that one?
Look, we're speaking to the other rider and it's still being investigated at this point in time.
Has he elaborated why he left the scene that day?
I can't comment on that.
Bob, in the back of your mind, is there any thought about the MAC closing, shutting down its ad? I know you guys have taken it over some of that function, but is that a factor, do you think, in the back of your mind that the MAC going is in some way, the lack of campaign awareness, perhaps a slip?
Well, there's been no slippage in campaign awareness. The road safety messaging is very, very strong and will be ongoing.
Do you think reckless driving, reckless riding or speed played a factor in the Baraka crash as well? Like, is that obviously a trend? Is that one?
It looks like the rider was not riding appropriately.
how worrying is that that rider in particular, 16 on his L plates?
Well, it's extremely worrying, but any fatality is a major concern to me. The fact that it's 16, I guess in some sense makes it even more tragic, because certainly that fellow had a lot to look forward to in his life, and now his family's devastated.
On motorbikes, Bob, too, they're overrepresented this year, I think. I forget what the stat is now, but certainly they're right up there. Any particular message for them?
Look, there's a campaign at the moment with respect to motorcycles. Yes, there's 16 that have lost their lives and they are overrepresented compared to last year. But it's again about making appropriate decisions, riding responsibly, and understanding that if you come off a motorbike at speed, generally the outcomes aren't good. They're a vulnerable road user and they have to treat themselves like that.
In terms of how many then, obviously 6 deaths in the last 5 days, how many of the crashes that occurred do you think speed actually played a factor, and how concerning is that?
Look, speed is one of the fatal 5. It factors in a number of serious injury crashes and fatalities, and unfortunately it appears to have factored in a number of the 6 that have occurred over the last 5 days.